Okay, hello everybody. Happy Sunday morning. It's Meteorologist Ansley Parker here, and today is the last day, hard to believe it, of the Georgia National Fair. And so we're going to take a little bit of a closer look at the forecast. If you are in some of our eastern counties, you may already be experiencing a little bit of rain this morning. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the rain chances for the rest of the day today, who's expected to see them, and then just kind of the gloomy skies that you're waking up to if you are not in some of those counties. So here's the look at all of the sky cams this morning. It is a little gloomy across the area. I'll take these full screen and we can talk about the forecast in a little more detail. Pretty much everybody got the same sight this morning, but there's already people getting out to enjoy the last day of the fair, and cloud cover is really not stopping anybody from doing that. So it's just a little bit of a gloomy sight right now. I actually don't think we have any showers happening in any of these areas. And likely where we have the sky cams, we won't really see a whole bunch of rain today. Probably the best chances out of all four of these places would be in Dublin. And I'll kind of explain a little bit more why that is here in just a minute. So there's a look at numbers across the entire state. Obviously up towards the mountains, it's a little bit cooler, low 60s here in central Georgia. It's a little bit warmer than that, not a ton though. We still have a lot of low 60s on the board this morning. We had a few mid to upper 50s, so we actually did dip down pretty close to what we did yesterday in a couple of spots, but a few areas stayed a little bit warmer than that. So it wasn't necessarily as cool of a morning as it was yesterday morning. That's due to the cloud cover that we had in the overnight hours, so the low temperatures didn't really have the chance to cool down quite as low. So you may have noticed it felt a little bit warmer this morning, and it kind of adds to the gloomy feel out there as well. So the numbers haven't really moved much. Again, we're mainly in the low to mid 60s at this time. And another change from the last few days is we've had this really steady, consistent, pretty strong breeze over the last couple of days, and it's been coming mainly from the northeast. Notice now it's coming in from mainly the northwest, and some of it's actually a due northerly breeze. So a little bit of a change in our upper level pattern is happening, and also the breeze itself is just not quite as strong. You can see a wind gust there in Vidalia up to 17 miles per hour, but other than that, the sustained winds are only about 5 to 10 miles per hour. So definitely a lot lower than yesterday, and I think the presence of the breeze will just generally be less of a thing throughout the day today. We really have had gusty winds. You probably have noticed it a lot over the last couple of days. I think today we're going to start to transition out of the really strong winds that we've had. So just so you know that, we won't really have as much of a breeze today. And again, it's not really coming in from the northeast any longer. So we're starting to have a little bit of a flow change up, which means there's a slight change in humidity. It's really not much of a change, but there's a little bit more moisture down in some of our southern counties. It's really still considered not bad air, and we're still pretty close to the true dry category. So not a ton of humidity out there, but enough to maybe make a slight difference in how things feel outside. I really wouldn't call it a major change. It's just kind of one of those things that changes with the winds changing as well. So with all of that being said, let's jump right into the satellite and radar. So right now it's a lot of cloud cover. I really don't think we're going to lose a lot of cloud cover through the day today. If you're kind of west of 75, you have the best chances at seeing some sunshine today, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be a totally clear sunny day. I still think a lot of folks are just going to have peaks of sunshine in between what's mostly going to be some gloomy skies. But we also have a little bit of rain moving in as well. Now this is extremely light rain. If we kind of take a look at the reflectivity values, they're really light green. So actually, I wouldn't even be surprised if some of this may not even be reaching the ground, or it's the kind of rain where you hit the windshield wipers once every 5 minutes or so, or it's a light drizzle. That's kind of probably what we're dealing with when you see colors that are that light. But what's going to be more important is kind of the location where it's happening. So right now, some of that is moving from Trutlin into Montgomery counties. There's some in Johnson, there's some in Washington, and a little bit in Hancock County as well. Elsewhere, we're actually pretty dry, and you can see most of that is moving in from the east. So this is going to be the trend through the day today. I think if you're west of 75, you probably won't have rain chances. It'll be a mainly dry day. If you're in our eastern counties, I'll just list off what I mean by eastern counties. I'm talking Putnam, Hancock, Baldwin, Washington, Wilkinson, Johnson, Lawrence, Dodge, Telfair, Wheeler, Montgomery, Trutland. Potentially even Wilcox, Pulaski, Bleckley, Twiggs, and Jones, maybe. You got better chances at seeing a little bit of light rain today, but overall still the chances are fairly low. The best chances are going to be the counties that are already seeing rain right now. West of 75, again, that's kind of my marker for who's going to be totally dry today. I think you really got low to no rain chances in those areas. Now, you'll notice Houston County is kind of on that dividing line. So today is the last day of the fair. Will there be rain at the fair? I think that there's a chance for one of these really brief sprinkles to roll over the fair at most. That's kind of the most we'd be talking about. Other than that, I think it's going to be a mainly dry day. So I don't necessarily think there's going to be any sort of weather that gets in the way of the fair. If anything, it's going to be kind of a pesky, annoying little shower if you happen to see anything. So if you're heading out for the last day, I would just bring a rain jacket or an umbrella just to be prepped. But it's probably something that you won't even really need through the day today. It's just always better to be prepared. So we'll talk a little bit more about, now I think that this kind of radar is, it kind of over exaggerates with some of the coloring there, how much rain is actually happening in our area. You just saw the radar. This is kind of a lower resolution radar here just to show you the big picture of what's going on in the atmosphere. Again, that low pressure system that we've been talking about for several days is still off of the coast, and it is dumping a lot of rainfall into South Carolina. You probably have heard a lot about this system, the rainfall it's going to bring to the northeast. It's called a nor'easter. That's the term that low pressure systems like this are given. And so it's bringing a lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of stationary rainfall to a lot of those areas, and we're just kind of getting some of these subsequent showers from this low pressure system through the day today. So let's play it through on the future view, and you're going to see a lot of what you're seeing on the satellite and radar right now. Really light to maybe at most a little bit steady rain in the eastern counties, a few stray sprinkles trying to creep their way a little further to the west. And then that's just kind of the case through the whole day today. There could be some steadier rain in the eastern counties through this afternoon into the evening. And that kind of just continues all day long. So I don't think we'll have much of a change up of this pattern. Again, if you're in the east, you'll be dealing with rain more than others. That may be a bit of an annoying situation, kind of a little bit of a wash in the eastern counties. And then by the time we get to the late night hours tonight, this thing finally starts to move on, and we'll be rid of it in the overnight hours tonight, starting Monday morning off with a much different scene. We'll have sunny skies to kick off Monday morning, and then those don't go anywhere through the entire afternoon, Monday afternoon. So we'll stay completely clear for Monday. It's just really today that we're going to have to deal with these rain chances. So not only are we going to be clear for Monday, but as we head into Tuesday, there will still be no changes on the way. And even as we head into Wednesday, there's still going to be no major changes on the way. In fact, there's not going to be any major rainmaker until potentially the end of next weekend. So this obviously is at the very, 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 very end of the long range forecast. These are the rain chances that are the most subject to change when we're looking out at the forecast. So we know for certain that the upcoming week is looking extremely dry. What is this on the long range models at the end of the weekend? It's still kind of yet to be seen. It's just a hint that maybe there could be a rain chance on the way, but you know how these things go. The end of the 7-day really does change a lot as we get more details and the models pick up better with what's going to happen in the atmosphere. So there's not really going to be a lot of rain this week, which is great. Again, we enjoy having clear weather. It's good to get outside. It's enjoyable, but if you remember, we are actually still in moderate drought conditions in some spots in our area. So these get updated every Tuesday. The graphic that you're looking at gets updated every Thursday. So we'll kind of have an update in just about 2 days to the drought monitor as to whether any of the rain that we've picked up over the last couple of days has changed conditions in the area. But overall, we didn't really see a ton of rain, and we probably need to see a little bit more to knock ourselves out of some of the conditions that we're under right now. So unfortunately, despite the sunshine being a good thing for enjoying outdoor plans and just being able to get outside and enjoy the day, we actually could use a little bit of rain because we haven't had that in quite some time, and we have been in drought conditions as well as abnormally dry conditions for a little bit of time now. So when we look at the rainfall totals from the last couple of days, again, this is from the last 5 days, so includes rain that we saw from a couple of light showers here and there. In total, in some of the heavier spots, we potentially could see around could have seen around 2 inches of rain, which would be good. I think that would be a substantial amount. But you'll notice it's really just kind of light blue colors in most spots, and I'm not totally sure that we've seen enough to knock us out of drought conditions. We'll be optimistic. I hope that some of the showers we saw on Friday and Friday, the ones we saw on Friday, sorry, my brain was trying to catch up there, could have helped us out a little bit, but we'll kind of have to see what happens as we get the latest drought monitor. And in terms of the rainfall for today, not really anticipating that that's going to do a lot for our drought conditions because, as you kind of saw on the satellite and radar, we're getting really, really, really light showers. So these really light showers don't have a ton of accumulation. The rainfall totals aren't getting crazy high here. So I don't really anticipate that the rain that we see today is going to do a lot for our drought conditions. I think it's more just going to kind of set the vibe for what could potentially be, if you're going to take advantage of it, a little bit of a lazy Sunday. So I think at the high end, we're talking about, if we get one shower that's a little heavier, we could see about 1/2 inch of rain. Other than that, I'm not feeling super optimistic about us seeing some crazy rainfall totals, which again is good. It's the last day of the fair. If you're trying to get outside and enjoy the end of your weekend, you should still be able to do so. Hopefully this won't get in your way too much. But like you saw, we could really use the rain, and we'll be dry for an entire week after this weekend. So with the dry weather on the way, we are going to have a little bit of a change to the afternoon high temperatures. So today's going to be the last day in the 70s for at least the next 7 days. And even in the 70s today, we've got a lot of cloud cover, so it's kind of not really a true 70s, but we should top out in the upper 70s for most this afternoon. By the time we head into Monday, remember I showed you how the wind is changing. We're getting some changes to just kind of where our air mass is coming from. We're going to have a ridge of high pressure sitting over us in the upcoming work week. That's the reason we're going to stay so dry. When you have air mass change like this, it also can change the temperatures as well. So that's what's going to be happening in this work week. We will climb a little bit higher each afternoon. Obviously, we'll have a lot more sunshine. So we're going to find our way into the low 80s every afternoon heading into the work week. I will also remind you, though, something Carmen Brown, my morning anchor, and I were talking about a lot this morning was, it kind of feels like summer's trying to hang on to us when we keep seeing 80s. We are actually, and have been over the last few weeks, very, very seasonable in terms of our weather. We've actually done the transition to fall very well. When I kind of look at temperatures over the last couple of weeks, in the last month or so, from September all the way to October, we've had a pretty steady transition to fall-like numbers. We've stayed around average in a lot of days. So actually, I know it feels like it's still really hot in the afternoons and it feels like it should be a little bit cooler, but the average high for this time of year is 80 degrees. So, obviously we're a couple of degrees above average, but it's not necessarily quite as bad as it may seem. I know it's not necessarily the most comfortable weather for everybody, but that's kind of rocking with where we should be for this time of year. So it'll be 80s for a few more days. The good thing is, if you're really not a fan of the afternoon highs getting this warm, you'll have a little bit of relief in the overnight hours and in the morning. So this is kind of perfect fall weather. It's the type where you need to have a jacket on you in the morning or at night, but it's got to be something you can take off by the afternoon because it's going to be warm. But by the time we get to the evenings, man, you can kind of cuddle up with a blanket outside if you wanted to. It'll be really crisp, nice fall air that will cool down into the mid-50s. So the evenings will be really nice. The mornings will be really nice. You'll still kind of have the crisp fall taste in the air every morning. So take advantage of that if you're a fall person and you're looking to get a little more of a chill each day. The mornings and the evenings will be your opportunity to do that. So that's kind of what temperatures are going to do as we lose rain chances for the next couple of days. But Other than that, I mean, that is the story with the 7-day forecast. Today is going to be the highest rain chances on there, and it's still not necessarily a crazy rain chance by any means. Eastern counties are probably going to be the ones seeing rain, but if you are heading out to the fair, if I was heading out to the fair today, I would throw my rain jacket in the car just to be safe. But I don't necessarily think it's going to be raining at the fair today. I think there just could be a chance that, you know, when it starts to get you get a little sprinkle and it's kind of irritating. I think that's kind of what the situation could be like today. So then we will move on from that low pressure system, and the rest of the week is going to be really, really sunny and a lot warmer. But like I said, each morning and each night we'll still have the chance to really cool down. The overnight lows still look like they're in the 50s. I didn't see any 60s on the long range forecast, but I also didn't see any 70s in terms of afternoon highs. So we could be sitting with this kind of pattern for a little bit of time here. We'll see what the end of the weekend, next weekend looks like. Long range might be hinting at a little bit better rain chances for Sunday evening. Obviously that's not even on the 7-day forecast yet, so we'll kind of see how that goes. But still definitely looking for our next best chance of rain. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of a better understanding for what you should do if you're heading out to the fair today. I'm going to throw the satellite and radar back on here. Again, it's a bit of a dreary day. If you're looking for plan opportunities, I think just take it as your excuse to have a little bit of a lazy Sunday. I think that's what I'm going to do today. Just enjoy the gloomy skies and the occasional showers, especially if you're in the eastern counties. And we hopefully will continue to just see dry skies or dry conditions over at the fairgrounds and make it a great last day to wrap up the fair. I really can't even believe we're already wrapping up the fair, but here we are. So hopefully that gives you some perspective and some planning for the day today. I will leave you with the satellite and radar here, but I hope you have a great, fabulous, wonderful Sunday. Get some rest, and if you're heading out to the fairgrounds, be safe. Throw your rain jacket in the car just to cover your bases, and we will see you right back here for 13 WMAZ News coming up tonight at 6 p.m. and streaming at 7:30. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you on Monday.